الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. Last week we were talking about a vice that is very detrimental, like all vices, and that vice is ill feelings towards fellow Muslims, okay? Misconception towards fellow Muslim. Okay. What is the cure of it? The cure of this vice is based on two. Number one, the respect and regard of every fellow believer, unless proven otherwise. That's number one. Number two, one's own examination of his own self, whether the vice that he is talking about in others is it present in himself. If I am not saying my prayers regularly, and you are not saying your prayers regularly, should I condemn you for that before taking care of what is wrong with me? Suppose the vice is not present in you, and somehow or other you have come to know about vice in someone else. And you see that vice. Okay? What should you do? What is the cure for it? Number one, you should pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for him. In solitude. No one knows. And you pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remove the vice from that person, who is a believer, who is a Muslim, who believes in the Prophet ﷺ, and who comes from Islamic background, is a fellow Muslim. May Allah give him tawfiq. May Allah grace him with goodness, and that vice is removed. And this prayer must be in solitude. It's not to show off others, not to tell even the person that you are praying for him. Just pray in solitude about him. Okay? That's number one. At the same time, you may also want to point out to him in privacy, so that that person is not humiliated. Okay? Many times, when you rebuke a person in public, the result is the opposite. He becomes defensive to protect himself, to protect what he has done or what he says, and may, even knowingly that he is wrong, come out charging against you. It's possible. Human beings, have different temperament. All of them would not accept their faults at their face. They would not accept the advice as is given to them. Or they are looking for some motives behind that advice that you may have. And I'll be clear about it. So the best thing is, if you want to speak to him, speak to him in private, in privacy, okay, so that he is not humiliated. If he is humiliated, he may feel defensive. So speak to him in privacy, in private. The sole purpose of pointing out the errors should be salvation and spiritual perfection, nothing else. Okay. Keep that in mind. You are not trying to belittle him. You are not trying to humiliate him. You are not trying to downgrade him. What you are trying, what your concern is his salvation and his spiritual perfection. Degradation, insult, or injury is not your motive. Your motive should be his perfection and his salvation. Because you know that this vice is going to lead to his destruction. In short, a believer, now one must refrain from speculating about fellow believers and stay away from the places and situations that breed such suspicion. And if you see that happening in someone, pray for him in solitude, If you have to point out to him privacy, so that he is not humiliated, degraded, or insulted. Okay? That is a voice coming from the power of anger, and the voice was ill feelings towards fellow Muslims. Now we come to the most important voice from the power of anger, and that's anger itself. Anger itself is a voice in which emotions of dominance and overpowering others, subjugating others, subordinating others, extracting revenge, play a very important part. Anger, like all other vices, is manifested in any of the three forms. The state of excess, when a person is out of bounds to the extent of disregarding the laws of Sharia and religion, that is the state of excess. The state of deficiency, when a person fails to take actions which are needed within the limits of Sharia, and at times even for self-defense. And the third stage is a state of moderation, in which anger is manifested in appropriate and permissible manner. The first two stages of excess and deficiency are vices, and third stage, the state of moderation, is a virtue. Let's go to the first two. So lack of anger, for example, that's the state of deficiency. Even though not as despicable as the excess of it, regardless, is a vice which drags a person into humiliation, subjugation, and eventual lack of dignity. Such a person is unable to take a stand, speak out, fight for his rights or rights of others, protect what is to be protected, fight when it's needed, and help those who are in need of being helped. A person who shows the lack of anger, this deficiency, surrenders quickly, submits quickly. He does not put up any resistance. He does not show any strength. He can't stand up. So what is the cure? The cure is to slowly expose yourself to situations where you can stand up. Facing situations where fortitude is needed, where courage is needed, where taking a stand is needed. Put yourself little valuable in situations where you have to take a stand. Maybe it's a family issue that you can, for example, stand up for the first time. You have been keeping quiet, facing humiliation, surrendering yourself, submitting yourself. Take one step at least. Okay? For the first time. Even you may be overruled, even you may not be able to get your points across fully, completely, totally, yet your speaking up would give you courage to speak up, to stand. When a child walks, okay, maybe he falls at the first step, but it doesn't